That's the Bennington show. Of course, opening the show up with the Rolling Stones. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Yo.
I am Ron Bennington. Now with the Eagles parade behind us, you'll see us acting like normal folk once again. Although, Vito, you have put up a lot of stuff on the iBang.
Yes. I have tons
from
of
the
videos
parade.
of the parade that was yesterday.
Is tons too much?
No. Tons
I mean, that's
of fun.
2,000 pounds of video.
I wanted as many parade videos as I could possibly give people.
Because you like the Eagles more than the Jets now.
Yeah, man. I'm fucking flying Eagles flying.
A guy said to me yesterday,
they
there's
say
a
that.
fella who works here, and he's just a good fella. And he goes, "You guys are set up for years." I go, "What's wrong with just celebrating this? Why am I looking ahead?"
Yeah, I know. It does put a lot of pressure on it. And, we're still in the wake of this Super Bowl win. We're just trying to absorb it all.
Look, we're all in agreement that either Foles or Wentz has to go. I'm the only one who wants Wentz to go. I think he's a piece of garbage with weak knees. But if not, Nick has to go. Vito, where would you like to see Nick Foles end up? And your team could always use a
I would
quarterback.
love to see Nick Foles end up a Jet.
There is some talk that the Jets would be good for him. Chris?
I say Nick Foles will go to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Bad Blake Bortles is going to be there until he retires, my friend. Count on that. I believe he's going to be an Arizona Cardinal, and I think he's going to be very happy. He played college there, and he's a Western guy.
Yeah.
you know?
He'll understand it out there. And they'll appreciate his Western ways and his Jesus and all the good stuff he wants to do. And he could be a minister part-time. He's a good boy.
He could be Cowboy Jesus. if he
Damn it,
wants
he's
to.
a good boy.
He is a good guy.
I just don't know why they can't just be two best friends who are quarterback together.
They are.
Two best friends.
They are, but you just don't have two guys. You don't. It seems like because of the wear and tear on that sport, it would make sense to bring guys in and out. But they say that you can never find your rhythm. And believe me, when I say this, I got Al Jolson type rhythm. You know what I mean? I'm always fine with it. I don't have to find rhythm, okay? Because I'll tell you this, the rhythm is going to get you. And
Oh, God.
yeah, it's going to get you. I said that to the sound.
I'm afraid now.
I said that to the Miami Sound Machine.
Now I'm afraid of the rhythm.
Don't be afraid. You know what's funny about you just saying that I'm afraid? You can decide to be afraid of anything, and then you are.
Yeah.
Like, what do they call the kind of fear that you should...
Like an irrational fear.
Okay. An irrational fear and a rational fear feel exactly the same. You would think that they would feel differently, but they don't.
Yeah.
Now, what always gets me about this, some people, let's say they were in a car accident. They'll have fear that that'll happen again. Other people go, yeah, I was in 10 car accidents. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason why some people, and then you say that, some prejudice comes from fearful things when you were a little kid or something, it's hard to shake. But don't you think there should be a different feeling that you get between a rational fear and an irrational fear?
Yet you could probably get to that same panic. Like, there are certain fears that you're like, well, yeah, of course, that's a scary thing. You wouldn't want to be in that situation. That would be bad.
Right.
But then there are the kind of things that, for some reason, they're stupid and you're working yourself up. But it might as well be like you're in an actual dangerous situation, life or death.
That's right.
You have created this in your mind.
Right. And that's why it's so difficult to tell somebody on an elevator, it's just an elevator, dude. I don't know what you're fucking worried about. There's just a chain that's pulling this box up and down.
Floor drops out.
So what? Dude, I have heard and I've read stories about people in New York who get in elevators and there's no elevator there and they just fall to their death. So I always look at the floor of the elevator, but that thing gives me a feeling of still falling anyway.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because have you ever done that thing where you're like looking into the elevator as you walk in and there's too much of a gap and you look down and you can actually see floors below?
Oh, yeah.
Like they have, like our elevator is like that. And you can see a good 30 floors below, like maybe 20 floors below. There's like a little light down there and you're like, what the fuck?
I heard a baby crying down there one day. Yeah.
Did you tell anyone?
No, I just hit basement. Just all right. Irrational fears. Vito, what about you? Do you have any irrational fears?
I'm terrified of death.
Okay, can you hold on?
Yeah.
Let me just say something. You think that we're going to be like, come on, dude, you'll never die.
No, but
What you have is a rational fear. You have a rational fear because you will die.
but I think it's coming at any point. Like I don't. I pinch. I grab my arm. I grab my arm a lot. Make sure I'm not having a heart attack.
You don't
You're
have.
overweight. I mean, this is again rational.
You don't have enough fucking fear to put down those jelly donuts, do you?
I'm always afraid buildings are going to collapse. Like hallways and everything.
So what you're saying is you're afraid of everything.
I get pretty panicky sometimes, just about the idea of death.
I've never seen you have a panic attack. Have you had one in here?
No, I've never had one in here, but I've had nights where I've been out and I've just like, my friend's been like, where'd you go for an hour? And I'll be like, I don't know, I was just having a cigarette outside.
Yeah.
And I really was like, it was too crowded in here. And I felt like the whole building was going to collapse.
Here's the thing, and this is going to help you with death, all right? I know this is a good thing. Death just feels like you're falling backwards forever. Just picture yourself falling backwards, and you never once get it together.
Just don't trust me.
And
for
while you're
anything.
falling, there's something touching your face. It seems like it's sometimes stuff is getting in your mouth too. I guess it's snake stuff. You realize an irrational fear is like people are like, oh, I have a fear of fucking garden trolls, and I run away when I see them.
Yeah, I get that, but mine's just death. You know, I just
That's
think-
a rational fear.
Yeah, that is something that will happen. Garden gnomes are not going to come to life. That's what his point is. That the thing that people are afraid of is not really much to be afraid of. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to kill you. It's
Right.
not an actual danger. Death will kill you. It's
but at any
scared.
time. Like,
Yes,
That happens. That's how it
We
happens.
all have this fear that death is coming for us.
just it might just sneak up on me at an unexpected place.
dude, I can tell you that I've had a lot of friends since I was young to now. The death came on quickly, like you're talking about. That is not an irrational fear.
Pretty terrifying.
It's a rational fear. Again, that doesn't matter. A fucking murder is terrifying, but that's a rational fear. That's what you're not understanding about this. I'm not saying that it's not fearful. You're right.
No, dude, I'm really scared though.
It's right.
I'm downright petrified of it.
Of course.
I'm close to putting out a hit on you right now.
That's my word for fear.
It's not worse fear, Vito. It's irrational fear.
Yeah.
I'll give you this example. This, and I did this topic many, many years ago when I was living in Daytona, and I'll never forget this woman. And she's deathly afraid of things, characters, or whatever that are larger than they should be. So a giant teddy bear freaks her out, or one of those, like a big boy restaurant. She can't look at that big boy.
Right.
She doesn't even know why. And if she's driving down the road, she sees a big boy, she'll fucking. And I never forget this woman. And whenever I see like a giant teddy
Right.
bear outside of a toy store, I fucking crack up and remember her.
It makes you think of the big Paul Bunyan
Yeah.
in Fargo.
Yeah, that big Paul
Right.
Bunyan, the fucking Macy's Day parade of fucking just things floating over
Favorite
her.
holiday.
She'd be laying on her back screaming. That's irrational.
Right.
Yours, very rational.
But is she afraid that the big things are going to kill her?
Yes.
Yeah, like that's what,
Death.
usually what it has to do with is that harm or death will come from this
Right.
thing that isn't
Even though
going to
it
hurt
can't.
you.
Like some people have a fear of like little spiders. Now, a little spider is gross,
Yeah.
but it can't kill you unless it's a little poisonous spider.
I definitely think my irrational fear is in that.
Little insects.
Yes, I had an incident happen to me earlier this week that I probably could not have discussed with you guys until now because I have been that shaken up about it. I'm taking a shower.
Mm-hmm.
And you know when you're in the shower, like, you're already in a vulnerable position. Like, you're trying to relax.
Women feel that more than men, but okay, go ahead.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Men are very comfortable in the shower.
You don't think, because you guys don't fear rape.
We don't
See,
fear
rape is a rational fear
Yeah.
for us. Rational.
Here's how I fear in the shower. If that psycho guy showed up here, I'd take the knife off him and stick it up his ass.
Oh, yeah. We don't think that. We think we're dead.
Yeah. Not only do not only do I feel comfortable in the shower, I also feel like I should be fronting a very big rock and roll band.
You feel irrationally safe.
Yes. Everything, I feel very superior in the shower. I feel very good about like ideas come to me in the shower and,
Right.
you know, I'm just like, really, why shouldn't I be running this company? I know about as much about radio as anybody. But yes, I can understand why a woman would feel.
Yes. So I'm in the shower. I'm home alone. And, you know, I'm trying to take a relaxing night shower. My preferred shower.
Night shower.
And so I'm in the shower for a while. I've got the temperature right. I'm feeling very comfortable. I reach over to get my shampoo bottle. I go to give it a whack upside down. And all of a sudden I feel something hit my body, slide down my body. I look.
Murderer?
I'm like, what the fuck? It's a fucking cockroach that is, I would say, the size of my palm.
All right, that's not known outside the Amazon.
I'm telling you, it was the size of my palm, okay? The length of my palm.
Look who's fucking the big pussy
I'm
over
telling
there.
you right now.
Who does? There's not a
That's my
person.
irrational bug.
Look, it's irrational to be grossed out when a fucking cockroach
here's
gets on
where
you.
it makes irrational. So instead of just being like, ew, a bug touched me, I'm now screaming to the point that it's like when you're in a bad dream and you can't stop screaming. And I'm having this panic where I'm trying to get out of the shower and be careful not to slip and kill myself.
Death.
So I'm just, yes, death. So death related. I'm clawing at the shower curtain. I'm running out of
I'm
the
so
shower
grossed
naked,
out.
screaming my head off that I'm sure if a neighbor heard, they would think I was being murdered. And then immediately I start, and I'm not fucking kidding you, crying.
Oh, no.
Like, I can't stop crying to the point that, as though I had just survived a gang rape. And it was, and then, the worst part is I knew I had to get back in there and kill that thing because I'm not going to sleep tonight if I know that thing got away. Now, here's the thing that I will tell you. Oh, you're just creeped out about a little, but whatever. That's the thing. Last summer, I literally swam away from a shark and got out of the water and was like, I could flip a car right now, dude. I felt like my adrenaline going. I was truly victimized by this experience. I have not got in the shower until last night. Last night was my first shower since.
Ew.
And it had to, I'm not kidding, and it is gross. And it had to be supervised. My boyfriend had to sit, first of all, check everything in the bathroom.
God, why does he
and
put
then
up with it?
He had to stay in the bathroom while I was showering, and every little thing and every little sound was freaking me out. That's irrational because what happened to me was not great. I got touched by a really gross bug, but now I'm afraid of showers.
Do you, you know I haven't brought this up to you, right? I heard you crying on the phone to your mom, and
Dude, I called my mom because my boyfriend was at work. I called my mom and I just couldn't stop crying. I couldn't stop crying.
she sounded like a little kid, and I'm pausing a movie that I'm enjoying, and I'm looking over, and I'm like, what? I go, what? She's all bugged. I go, what the fuck, man? And I could hear her crying and talking through her tears like she was 3.
So fucking bad.
But at least, Vito, she gets the bit. And she's not sitting here bringing up death. Chris, you were acting like a maniac when she was talking.
So you're not a bug
there was a
fan.
bug on you.
All right, first of all, as a child, moths fucking I don't know why. It's the most gentlest of bug. Like it's not even that disgusting.
It's like a little pillowcase. is
Yeah.
flown
Oh
into
my
you.
God, I think they're so pretty.
But if there was a fucking moth in my apartment, I would flip out. Like, we have to kill this moth.
There must have been a lot.
What's that supposed to mean?
I don't know. I've seen pictures.
Why bring that up?
What if it's moth-eaten clothes?
But moths terrified me as a child.
I think moths are kind of pretty. Like I've actually pet a moth before because they're fuzzy.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with a moth. But as a kid, I was freaked out. Now, as an adult, for some reason, I always think the ceiling's going to collapse on top of my head. No
Okay,
matter
again,
what building I'm in.
A lot of these are collapse related.
No, just
There's got to
specifically
be
fucking a roof.
When there's a vibration,
specifically a roof.
Like, I'm not like a wall's
like
going to
a-
fall on me. Or like I'm going to fall through.
Oh my God!
a vibrating ceiling, that's terrifying.
Why would there be a vibrating
you
ceiling?
talking
Sometimes when there's like a lot of noise and it's just like.
Oh, no. Nothing has to be happening. I'll just look at the roof and like, this thing's going to fucking fall on top of my head. And I'm going to be buried underneath this rubble.
Oh, hey, don't worry about it, Chicken Little.
And then you die.
Death is not. It's not a fear that we're talking about.
I don't.
Death-
Moths is irrational.
Vito,
Roaches
death is going to come
can't
to you
kill
like a long lost friend. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You're not going to. You get to shed that body that's been haunting you since you
Your
were born.
mortal coil.
Okay. So I just get to die.
Yeah.
No.
Draped
You
in
don't
the
exist
darkness.
anymore.
You
this is-
cease to
I
exist.
don't like this. It's scary.
Nothing exists.
hmm
So you won't even know it.
You, your thoughts, your memories,
Well,
everything
his thoughts
gone.
will still be there, like, help, I don't have a body. And I'm falling backwards. What is that, a cockroach, or is the ceiling falling on me? My biggest problem is that the ceiling will collapse and cockroaches will fall out.
Well, that is
Good
actually
God.
pretty decent.
Look, I have a fear that something is going to happen to someone I love. And I've always had that fear. That is a rational fear because those things do happen. But it's a rational thinking that it's happening right now. Death is the same way, Vito.
Right.
Like you, I'm afraid of death. Unlike you, it's people I love, not just myself, like I'm a selfish fucking infant.
It's all me.
You're not worried about losing your mom?
Oh no! Don't even bring that. That's
I
terrifying.
mean, don't even bring it up. This is what this conversation is
talking
about.
about.
It could happen. It's going to happen.
No, that's something. Sometimes when I was a kid, I would think about it. I'd be like, "Death is out there," and I'd just go out to hug my mom and be like, "We're all good. See you later."
Aw. I remember once just crying to my mom and telling her, I hope I die before you do. And she's like, never say that again.
That's the one thing a parent doesn't want to hear.
Oh my God, I hope I die before you so I don't have to deal with that.
I can see, like, what's up here from behind, and I had no idea what those things were spelling
shit.
out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at it and going, I'm bad at spelling backwards. Chris sometimes allows me when we have a hard break to go to, you know, how much time is left or whatever. And what are you doing, Chris? Trying to make everyone
No, that's
fit? Not even close. Not even close to what I'm saying. So bad. So fucking bad.
It's weird.
It is the Bennington Show. Congratulations to Bonnie McFarlane on the Tonight Show. If you want to go over and check that out, it's
Yeah,
up
that
on
was
the
great.
bang.com. And then Vito has also put up a tonnage, as he put it, of just parade stuff, which to me, you know, it's done.
Do you do you feel like now parade's done, the week is over? Are we
I'm going to privately feel good about it instead of publicly. I'm not
Okay.
going to bring it up on the air, but I'll have private moments up. Oh, that feels good.
Yeah. I loved all those hype videos and
Yeah. Well, you know, we were talking about people who didn't get a chance to see it, people who had
Yeah.
been lifelong fans, and we know some. You know what I mean? And I personally have a couple of different buddies that I grew up with that would have been much happier about it than me. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And then this is the thing that Vito brought up, that life isn't always fair that way, you know? And again, I don't understand why a sports team winning can bring a town together. But it can.
It really can. It's the unifying thing. It's also the emotional connection that is also safe with men. You know what I mean? It's a easy way for men to feel joy, sadness, missing someone, wishing someone was around.
Yeah.
For some reason, it becomes an easier thing for men to access by using sports.
And then weirdly, it's the one thing that's not true of Chris and Vito. They are totally comfortable with whatever homosexual feelings they have. They sleep naked together when they're on the road.
It's not a problem for us.
They dress the same. Vito, aren't you now a little jealous of that mustache? Because it's fucking cool.
It looks
solid.
good on him.
Thank
It's
you.
Robert Redford cool.
yeah, it's pretty good.
It's gorgeous.
You do look good in the mustache, man. I'm not going to take that.
Certain people do. Burt Reynolds always look better in a mustache. Always.
I'm not even sure I've seen a mustacheless Burt Reynolds. Like
they're out there, and it's frightening.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I can't even recall because I can only think of him with the signature stash.
Stash on the right person.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And you
A
also-
stash on anyone is better. People attack stash for the same reason they'll attack a man bun. They don't want to see men feel comfortable with themselves.
Yeah.
And you know who I hate that does that? When women do it, because women should know better.
I know.
You know?
First of all, I think it's shitty when women do it because any woman who has long hair knows it's comfortable to put your hair up in a bun now and again. Gets it off the neck.
Well, here's the deal right now. You see how everybody was laughing at Trump because his comb over blew up the other day, right?
Yeah.
You saw how bald he actually is under that. They would be mad if he was wearing a toupee. They would be mad if he wore a weave job, and be mad if he was bald. What
Right.
do you expect this fucking guy to do?
Yeah.
But take what hair he has, loop it around the best he has, and hope the wind doesn't hit him. But you think
turban
he
that
could
hair.
get elected if he was bald? Fuck no.
You think if he was a
100%. We've never had a bald fucking president. Look back. No one and no president even had a bald patch.
weird?
Yeah.
Okay. What
We expect hair.
if we're talking about a bald but fit president? Like, you know what I mean?
They
Like,
don't exist.
yeah, I mean, I just kind of
I know who you're talking about, Aaron Berg. Aaron Berg would never be elected
presidential to me.
They would not elect that. You're talking about a look that we respect in business. But
Right,
in
that's-
business, no one votes for the businessman. The businessman takes it.
Yeah, because
Here, you're going to walk around, please accept me. Accept me. I want to be president.
because it is a beloved thing when the gray, the silver fox look
Right.
is very respected. But that's exactly what I was thinking of. I was thinking of the bald businessman who has like very testosterone.
Look, there's also
You
yeah, that doesn't exist. We don't trust it. We fear it. Now, there also has never been in the history of this country a president with a hairy back.
Never?
Never.
Not even in the 1800s. Unbelievable.
There was an opportunity in the 1800s. There was one guy who was running, and they spread rumors about his back. His fucking approval ratings fell through the floor.
Yellow
You
journalism.
cannot. And these are the things that women are like, be yourself, act natural. Really? This is what it really looked like. Not voting for you.
Weird.
Why
yeah.
can't you go and have your back lasered after we do everything for you?
But there was something about the way the wind took that hair. I don't know what. It was just really more disturbing. It was like seeing somebody's face being peeled off or something. It was more than I ever wanted to see. It seemed like if I had always known he was bald under. I guess what I had always assumed.
Every man is bald under his hair.
I know, but I just assumed the comb over. I was like, he's bald on top.
Yeah.
But this was a bald in the back of the head in a way that I wasn't anticipating.
Can I tell you something? The wind is a wicked mistress. There's a picture of John Kelly, right? He looks fine as a general bald. Not going to make him president.
Yeah.
They fucking said, hey, would you ever like to run for president? He goes, stop fucking teasing me. Look at this fucking chrome dome that I have. I don't stand a chance. And then you would think that they would like if a guy put on a fucking hairpiece. Despise it.
No, they do not like a piece. Piece is probably least respected of all of them.
They're all least respected. And it's a way of them attacking age.
You know which one I really don't like is when people attack guys who shave their head down because they're bald.
Right.
Because I'm like, I feel like that's oftentimes when you're at a point, that's a good way to deal with it. I think it's a good, nice, clean look.
You know what they're saying, Gail? Die.
I mean,
we want you to die.
They got so upset at Prince William because he shaved the head down, and they were just like, oh, look at how bald he is. It's like, but before it was just like a denial of bald. Now he's embracing bald, and you guys are giving him a hard time?
They want him dead. And you know what? Vito, you fear death? You'd be better off fearing baldness.
Baldness is pretty scary, but death is a little scarier.
You could also do a comb over from your back.
Which
makes you...
I could do it from my shoulders, probably.
That makes you non-presidential.
Is your back as hairy as your shoulders? Because your shoulders are...
It's the same thing. It's the same.
Do you know that we've never had an Italian president? Not one. And the reason? Their backs.
Very greasy bodies.
See, he says greasy, which he shouldn't.
Yeah,
that's a fucking slur.
We are, though. I mean...
No, you're not.
Look at my hair sometimes.
Stop it, Vito.
That's just because you don't wash.
I started because...
You're fucking filthy. And you looked a lot better when you used to wear that Bon Jovi thing around your head every day.
You're filthy, and I'm saying that, and you know I just had my first shower in days.
Look, you notice none of us jumped in to say the last time we showered? Chris doesn't even come out of the hills until he needs salt. He always comes down when he needs salt and copper wire. And then we're like, while you're down here, Chris, can we fix a hot bath for you? You ever see that like in a movie when they make a bath for a cowboy when he comes into town? And then it always looks fucking fantastic. They're just pouring kettles of water into the bathtub.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck, man, why don't we do that?
It's just boiling water.
Yeah.
To get the temperature right. Usually in just like a nice old tin or wood bucket type.
You know,
soaking.
I always look at this when I watch a cowboy movie. You see a guy and he's riding in, you see him like miles away, and the dust is with him, and he comes into town, he puts his horse up, walks into a shitty bar. I mean, every one of those bars is dark and dank looking, right? Goes up, whiskey. I'd be like, dude, you just fucking rode through the desert. You better hydrate before you put any whiskey in your body. I would drink 2 gallons of water before I thought, you know what? I feel like getting a buzz on right now.
Yeah, you're working against yourself.
You would literally be like, I almost died. I just rode a horse through the desert. Give me as much water as you possibly have here. Put me under a pump and just keep pumping into my mouth.
I remember also you said you love the idea of a cold ladled water. Like when you see a cowboy ladling water.
Yeah.
I remember you said that, and I think about it all the time.
Because it looks like the ladle itself is cold.
It
You know?
does, like a frozen ladle.
Here's what I like to do, and I try to time it perfectly. So I'll have the little water bottles that pollute the whole planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
I throw a couple into the freezer. I go back in the freezer, and just when I can crunch the whole bottle, you don't want it saddle. You just crunch it. You take it out. You down it so fast that it feels like someone shot you in the eye. And I get up, and I pour water back into it with my bad eye, put it on. As I put it in, I grab the other bottle, start crunching. Go for it in the other eye, and I'll get both eyes hurting me. Whiskey. Fran, I better give you some water first. You spent a lot of time in the desert. I'm worried that this whiskey could put you in a coma right now. Let's just get some hydration going. How about 2 gallons of water? You take a piss and come back in here, and then the whiskey will be waiting. We're talking about 5 minutes, and you're going to get your whiskey. You think they charged for water back then?
It's got to be. No, I think it had to have been free.
No, I think they were just fucking. Someone's pumping from a well and bottling that shit.
No, they didn't have bottled water. It was the joke of our childhood is that our grandparents would be like, water for sale.
Yeah, water did not fucking exist in a bottle until like the fucking 80s.
But I feel like less, right, even if they didn't bottle it, I'm sure they were charging people whatever it costs.
Why? You got to fucking... What it costs, you got to fucking... Well, Doug, you go like that with your arm and water pumps out.
I feel like...
You're not getting a water bill every month.
If you're having any charge for maintaining your well, I feel like you're working that into the rest of your cost into your business.
There's the other thing in this movie. Leave the bottle. That's against state law. And they'll even have modern fucking movies where the guy acts like he's grabbing the bottle.
Yeah.
That's the fucking against the law right there.
Yeah, and also, like, look, I haven't worked out how to charge you for the whole bottle.
Right.
I don't know how many shots are in there.
We're charging per shot. This isn't a liquor store, okay? It's a bar. And I've got a lot of customers and not a hell of a lot of whiskey. Everybody gets some. And there's never a thing of like, what would you like? Eggs. You know what I mean? Like, you just came in from the fucking desert. You're thirsty. You're hungry. The last thing you need to do is liquor up. Get some food in you and get hydrated.
What about a cowboy that just sat down and went, do you have any signature cocktails?
We don't do mixers here, stranger. You get straight. I mean, the easiest job in the Old West was a bartender. You're either pouring a shot or going to the keg and getting a beer. There's nothing you need to learn.
What's your happy hour situation here?
I'm trying to not stay very far away from the shotgun that you have under.
Right.
No bartender ever had a pistol?
Mm-mm.
Makes fucking sense that you would have a pistol like everybody else. You're like, let me reach for this long iron.
You got to crank it underneath
It's
to try to aim it.
very awkward.
Hopefully, I don't shoot any of the other customers' dicks off while I aim this at you.
You got to leave your sidearms here. Knives? Oh, yeah, knives. That goes without saying. Knives, anything you have, anything sharp. We don't want you guys hurting each other. What about my rifle? I don't have a lot of space, but could you just leave it on your horse? And the weirdest and worst thing is, like, if you would be out in the desert, is seeing another human being.
Oh,
that
dear.
guy will try to kill you.
We're fucked. I see someone on the horizon. They're going to steal from us, kill us.
They didn't even
Probably
like to
rape
see
you women.
smoke. They didn't like to see smoke on the horizon. They're like, this fucking place is ruined now. About 5 miles away, there's some guy down there. He just lit a small fire for himself. Let's go kill him before he kills us.
There's no way to live.
Yeah. And they're always like acting like when they're sleeping, someone's sneaking up on them. I couldn't even find somebody out there today in the dark. And yet they were figuring out how to fuck with each other. All right, so that's your irrational fear, death. Coming up, we are doing Doug Stanhope at 2 p.m. His book is This Is Note Fame. You have
Not fame would be the correct spelling.
You don't think Note Fame is a better way of doing it?
This is Note Fame.
This is my Asian friend, Note Fame. Look at the ridiculousness of those Eagles fans. It looks like the most small town thing you could possibly do.
Yeah. It was so great.
Well, that is up on the iBang if you want to see the Eagles parade stuff. There's a lot of fun stuff in there. Note Fame, Doug Stanhope at 2 o'clock. I'll go see Bonnie McFarlane's set up on the iBang. and we'll be right back. Bennington. It's the Bennington Show on a Friday. Coming up in a little bit, it's Unmasked with Doug Stanhope. Very, very talented guy. Has a book out now that you'll want to check out. Very, very funny man. You guys were in a little bit of a conversation about a certain TV show. What was it, Gail?
Orange is the New Black is the TV show. And my point is that it took so long for me to even break through and watch this show.
Yeah.
Because in the first season, the guy from American Pie plays her husband. And it was like completely tonally different from the rest of the show.
He plays the same guy. He plays like the Jewish guy who's like Elliot Gould's son, no matter what he's doing.
Yes, and it was so annoying to me, and his relationship with the main character, his relationship with Piper was so annoying. He called her Pipes. I didn't like that. That was, for some reason, that bugged me. Everything about this character bugged me. It didn't seem like anyone else in the show. That it took me a full season to just be like, can I shake off the bad vibes of one character?
You know how like he's kind of ruined the show for you?
Yes.
That's how I feel about humanity. That's what he's done for me. Like when I'm like human beings are okay, then I remember that guy. Vito, I see you waving at us. Do you want to stop some information that we are spreading the wrong way or?
Well, one from that TV show also, I think Piper, the main character, is one of the most unlikable characters on a TV show.
Is she supposed to be unlikable?
Like, she's not supposed to be unlikable to the point where you don't want to see anything to do with her, but there was a point in the show where I was just like, give me any character other than her.
The funny thing is, I think that the writers of the show did pick up on it, because what was in the first, 2 seasons, she was the main character. Now she is a side character in an ensemble cast. And
That's always bad when that happens.
And I think that, the first 2 seasons, you're thinking this girl has a hit TV show, and now you see her a couple times an episode. It's really weird. So I have a feeling that people agreed. I feel like they got notes about this.
I wonder how many times that has happened in the history of the world. Like, Ron Howard was supposed to be the star of Happy Days.
Right.
It became Fonzie, but it's not like they pushed Ron Howard out. They just realized that people were responding more to Fonzie. But Taxi, the old TV show Taxi, had this Southern guy who the show was kind of going to be him in the big city. And by the second season, he was gone. You know what I mean? And we were supposed to live through him. Like, we're not from fucking Queens. You know what I mean? So we weren't going to sit around and fucking know what Louis De Palma and these New Yorkers are up to. But we're all a little wet behind the ears. And they just decided they hated that fucking dude.
I think that's the thing, that when they put somebody as the center, where it's like, you're going to follow them through this weird world, or they're the straight man.
Right.
And you don't buy into the straight man, you've got to ditch. Because I think that Sex and the City had a certain thing where they were like, Carrie Bradshaw just became I guess she's in the show too. Like, the other 3 girls were these big personalities. And
I didn't know that.
And then she just kind of wrote about her life. But they were the ones with kind of the more character,
and
archetype.
they decided she had to become a nut too.
But for Seinfeld, we stay with he's the straight man, but
he did get wackier as time went on.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He thought he was werewolf and all hairy and shit. You're just like, that's not your character, Jerry.
And notice that in the beginning, Jerry was just like, these are my friends that are weird. And by the end, he let all his quirks, all his phobias.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, my belt buckle touched the toilet, so now I have to throw it out. Or
where he would have been like,
toothbrush.
George, why are you making a big deal about the belt buckle?
Exactly.
Because he fucking couldn't stand the jokes getting away from him. All right. You see, here's the difference. We could bring up Seinfeld and we all figure it out. But most shows now, I bring up shows to you guys all the time. You don't watch. And you guys watch shows that I don't watch. I miss that we all know.
I know that's
what the show is.
The tricky thing, but you have gotten into. You were talking about this the other day. You're talking about Counterpart. I just figured out that's on Stars. I don't have it. That's why I don't watch it. I can't even have.
Isn't there another way that you can get it off an internet feed, like a Hulu?
Is there some sort of
the paid ones, because Stars is like one of those like paid subscription networks like HBO and stuff. It's like I wanted to watch American Gods on Stars, but it's hard to get.
You haven't seen it yet?
No, and I hear it's amazing, and I really want to get into it.
For you, it would be. There is one character I don't care much for. But see, that's why we can't sit around and have these things, because, like I brought up Happy Days, the whole world watched Happy Days.
Yeah.
But now if I bring up a popular show, you're not watching those either.
I know, because there's like 80 popular
Does
shows.
anyone know what the number one show on TV is? Because that used to be a given.
Yeah.
That everyone knew the number one show.
I think the number one show, which is, I don't think currently in its season, but when it is in season, I think is Zombies Running Everywhere show.
You're bullshitting me.
I think it is.
No, that's dying.
Is that might be is it the number one cable show?
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead was number one, maybe cable show years ago. It's over.
I thought it was still on top
people
of
don't even put on Talking Dead. That's how bad it's going. Yeah.
Is it This Is Us? Because I always see people talking about This Is Us, but I don't watch
Chris
it.
has looked it up.
All right, the number one show is Big Bang Theory still.
That's not the number one show.
It literally says number 2.
It might be the number one comedy show of the show of its life. It can't be the number one regular show. Can't be.
Yeah, that's too weird. And why I want to say this, I don't know anyone who regularly watches that
Kids
show.
fucking love that show.
But again,
I will
it's
tell you
hard to
this.
say as an adult. I don't know any adults who are like, look, I'm a crazy Big Bang Theory.
I have seen it.
Yes, I've seen an
know it.
episode.
No, I've seen more than episodes. I could tell you some plot line. But I couldn't tell you guys the person who ruins the show for me.
Really?
I don't want to say the Indian kid. You know what I mean? Like, what has ruined the show was what ruins every show is they're too old to be hanging out together. You don't hang out.
Yeah, there's so
and
little.
eat dinner together for 11 years.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You get that thing like either in college, maybe just after high school, like where you have, like maybe you live close to
And
your
it's
friend.
a short porch.
I had that for a very short time after college. Me and all my friends moved from college to pretty much the same 2 neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And we had pop-ins and people would come in and they lived a couple blocks away. And that lasted for about two and a half years.
Do you remember?
And it was great.
When we went to that funeral and I introduced you to an old buddy of mine, and he was still hanging out with friends of ours from when we were little. And I started laughing. I go, you fuckers are crazy, man. And then he said they all just went to Dave Mason. I'm like, you're out of your foot. I didn't even know any of this. Could still be. I don't know. He wasn't that good in the 70s. Why are you guys going out? You know, and they still party and they, you know, and like to them, I'm kind of weird.
But then when you think about it, that is like a TV show has jumped the shark, but it's only jumped the shark because the characters are aging. Like, it's not even a typical jump the shark where you're like, oh, now we have like a character who does something crazy.
Well, yeah.
I'll give you like this example, who's like a character who ruined a show. A Scrappy-Doo, if you will, of like what? Now we have to have a Scrappy-Doo,
right? But that's like trying to blame Modern's Family heading down on Joe, the baby.
Baby Joe. A little bit I do, but it's not Baby Joe's fault.
Right,
Like,
Baby Joe
like-
could make that happen.
Like that was like a Hail Mary.
Yeah, just like we
Like,
gotta have
Baby
something
Joe.
because there's new kids who are like, why are we watching this? There's no one my age.
They have one family with everybody's dropping out of college because they're like, we got to keep the kids in the house somehow.
Why are they still out to dinner with their parents? You know what I mean? They are at the age where they're like, fuck, we got to go home at Christmas and see mom. We got to. You can't just have a show where someone calls their mom once a week.
Right.
Mom.
Well, another show that like completely moved off its main character was Family Matters. Was originally a spin-off about the mom, and then she got recast during the run of the show.
I don't even know what Family
Wait,
Matters
Family show.
But what was she a spinoff from?
That was a spin-off of fucking Balky.
I had no
That was
idea.
a spinoff of
She worked.
Balky?
Yeah, she worked in their office. It was a spin-off of that. She was like the elevator operator.
But
Why
how
would they
good
spin
was
her
she?
off?
Yeah, but like how good was she that did she need a
She got a
spinoff?
spin-off, and then they recast her with a completely different actress by the last season.
Yeah, that's really weird because I'm trying to even remember the mom from Family Matters. I can't even remember her. I can remember the dad and I can remember Urkel. I can't remember any of the other
Belky
kids.
and Urkel ever do a crossover?
I believe they did. I mean, like all those NBC shows, like they'd pop up. Like one time.
That's not what we're talking about. There should have been a memorable moment. Urkel and Belky.
It happens all the time.
All right, Jen, is there a show on BET that just annoys you so much? The thing was, you have a show that you like, but there's a character that ruins the show for you.
I probably would say Moesha. It was on BET.
She walked into it.
Yeah.
She was like, actually, it is. It is true.
Yeah.
Moesha.
Oh, she should get paid more money, Moesha.
There was one not too long ago that was, what was the robot show, and we're robot cowboys.
Oh, Westworld.
Westworld.
Yeah.
So in Westworld, like almost all the way through the season, towards the end of the season, they introduce a new character who was the love interest in Creed. I don't know this actress's name, but she comes out of nowhere. She's like the new boss, and like things in Westworld are going to be different.
It didn't even make sense.
Didn't make any sense. And then it was, again, one of those circumstances where it's just like, if she's attractive, let's shoehorn another hot woman in. She was just like bossy and pushy, and she didn't know anything about technology, and yet she was going to take this company that obviously is doing really well and just be like, things are going to change around here. And you're like, why did we need this character?
I don't know.
There's no
And it's
need.
one season. I mean, this should be a 7-season
Exactly.
thing that you're doing.
You pull something like that, okay, fine. But there's no reason.
I think that show's coming back this year, right?
Yeah, there was a Super Bowl.
We missed
ad
a
for
year.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
Why
was.
did I miss that Super Bowl ad too?
It was there was some previews for some stuff. I saw them in an office building that was shut down, like shut down maintenance style. They did.
I honestly think I was blacking out during those commercials. During
You
the
also
whole-
fainted a couple times during the game.
Yeah, I was fainting.
Well, we were talking earlier today about all those parade stuff, and you can go and see that on the iBang. But there's certain times in your life when you're heightened that you won't forget those moments.
Yes.
Most of the things in your life you forget. Even if you've got a good memory and you're like, oh, I remember we all went to the shore that weekend. Yeah, what did you have for breakfast that day? What did you have for lunch?
Right.
Did you take a shit that day?
What did you
I mean,
guys
this
talk
is
about?
wasted
Yeah.
life.
It's really, really weird. But I had that feeling right after the win, and we're all jumping up and we're all screaming. And I remember just like turning to you guys like, how do we hold on to this? Like, there's no way you want to remember everything about this. And I wish you could just access that. Like, I have that all the time where I know that something was great and everyone was really happy. Like, why can't I just like pop into there and really re-experience it? You're just like, it's a general memory. Like, yeah, we're all happy. And
You could, as I say, take a pill, a happy pill.
that's true.
I call it a sedative. And Daddy's going to take a little nap while he's driving. We're going to have a nappy drive. No, you are right. Most things we honestly do forget.
Yeah. Like, think about, you can remember something from your childhood, and for whatever reason, that's like a super vivid memory. But then if I asked you, remember last week, and we were sitting in the studio and we're all talking about this thing, and you're like, kind of, but not, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
just just a regular day, you just release that. You can't hold on to all of those memories. So you must just go, yeah, that's not really significant to me. I'll just throw it out.
You would think that makes sense, but I have odd memories of things that have no significance at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Odd from when I was very little all throughout school. And I'm like, why is that the thing I remember? You know what I mean? I can't even fucking picture everyone that I banged, let alone why do I picture myself sitting under a fucking tree one day, waiting for a friend and smoking a cigarette.
Really strange.
When there's fucking, a fight took place or something that seemed dramatic enough that that would be the thing that's stayed. Not just like, oh, I can picture myself riding my bike down that hill. Why?
I have this really like a memory that I can access really easily all the time. And it's from when I was a kid and my great aunt was sick and she was coming home to live with us. And I knew that she was coming home from the hospital that day. And I was worried about it. It was on my mind because it was like torrential rain.
Yes.
And so I'm sitting there and I'm supposed to be like taking a test or doing a worksheet or something like that. And I'm just looking at the window pane and it's like, you know, that kind of rain where it's just like flooding. It's like a waterfall on the window pane. And my teacher is just like, Gail, pay attention to what you're doing. And she keeps telling me, but I keep just looking back at the thing. Now, I came home that day. I saw her. I have specific kind of memories. That whole time of my life was very important. But for some reason, I can access the way I felt in that moment in my body. Just keep looking at the rain and being like, are they okay? Is she okay? Why? Why that specific thing? I can recall that better than the morning she passed away in a weird way. Like I can remember things about that, but that's so specific. Just like being a little person and worried about like big people stuff. I don't know why.
You know what's really weird is like, I remember that Gail so well. You know what I mean, that little girl who would be like, hey, what are we going to do? And you'd be like, honey, you don't have to worry about this. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about where we're going to put the hospital bed. And you know what I mean? Like, you don't need to.
Right.
You can watch TV or...
Yeah, I was very interested. I don't know why, but as a kid, I was very interested in adult conversation, adult decision making. I just kind of felt like, I'm shorter than a lot of the rest of you, but I kind of felt like I should be like somebody who could give an opinion.
Well, we did take your opinion because you wanted to give it. And we were just like, well, that is, I see where you're coming from. I just disagree. That's all. But you were exactly like that. When you told that, I could picture that as if it was happening right now, and I wasn't there for it.
Yeah.
But that thing of you...
it's really raining hard. It seems like it's going to be hard to bring someone home in this rain.
Yeah.
She's just kept yelling at me.
By the way, it rained like that all weekend.
Yeah.
I had to fucking dig a ditch around the house to keep it from flooding.
Yeah.
During a major college football game. And that was fucking pissing me off. But we had never had any kind of flooding problem in that neighborhood until the one day that we were loading a dying person onto a hospital bed.
Yeah. It was really exceptional. That rain was pretty exceptional. So that's probably why. Not to mention it was like a big moment, but I don't know what it is about that specific thing, but who knows why? Like, just like you said, you might have a memory of like sitting around and it's like a dull memory, but you could like drop right back into that. But then I think about the fact that, I don't know, we'll have like big laughs hanging out together. Right. And then we'll go like, oh, what were we laughing about a couple days ago? We can't remember.
That was so crazy.
We won't remember it.
I don't know.
It's something
strange. Yeah.
Or like every morning, my boyfriend and I wake up and the first thing we do, like he'll put on coffee and then we'll sit down and we'll talk. Sometimes it's about nothing. Sometimes it's about the news. Sometimes it's but we always have a conversation. Usually we're laughing and talking. What are those you know what I mean? Like those conversations we're not having a heavy, deep conversation. So that just like goes away. I couldn't tell you.
And it's probably as important to you as anything else in your life.
Yes.
Because that's the way you start your day.
Yeah.
Well, look at Vito. He cuddles up with his mom in bed every morning.
Yeah.
But he doesn't remember the days that they made love or simply just had dirty sex.
For some reason, I look like I have a first memory, and my whole life I've looked back at that first memory, and during it, for some reason, I'm thinking during the memory.
All right, how old were you?
I was 3. And it was the blizzard of 96.
Uh-huh.
And in my head, I'm a kid, and I walk out of my house when I lived in Jersey, and I walk out of my house, and I go, this is my first memory.
You are redoing that.
I know it doesn't make any sense, but for some reason in my head, anytime I look back, I come out, I'm like, this is the first thing I'm seeing.
No, that's weird because then, like, if that is true, then what you're actually experiencing is like, this is the first time you have consciousness, not only memory, but just like, I'm not just like a baby babbling like an idiot.
I remember
I'm thinking thoughts these days.
I remember opening my eyes, looking at the ceiling, getting up, going outside, being like, "This is what it's like." And then there was snow everywhere, and I was like, "Whoa!" Like, and the snow was like up here, and it's weird, like realizing now, just because I was a little kid, but in my head, like the snow is up here. But I remember walking out and seeing my dad shoveling and being like, "All right, this is what it's like to experience stuff."
Wow, that's
fascinating.
weird. That's weird. But the fact that you said this is my first memory, that couldn't have happened.
Because how would you even know that you're going to remember it?
I don't, but anytime I look back, that's how I remember it. And I remember waking up and being like, this is something's different. Like,
I'm a person now.
yeah.
You know, they say that when you're an infant, right, you don't know the difference between you, your mom, the bed. It all feels like you. Everything is you.
Yeah.
When you're an infant. You know, so when you're crying, it's because there's hunger or there's fear or whatever, but you're not thinking and that's why they put those things, those mobiles over so the baby will have something to
kind
see
of focus on.
and then think to themselves, wait, that isn't me. I'm not doing that.
Right.
You know, and they start to become into knowing they're part of a shared reality. I mean, when you think about it, how odd is it that we share reality?
It's very, very strange. And there is a thing that happens with babies where, my friend was explaining this to me. He has a daughter and they're called, like, I think they call them wonder weeks or something like that. So there are these weeks where, from the time that you were due, not necessarily, if you're premature, it literally still goes from your due date because you're not yet developed, right? And they're pretty much on the nose every time. And it's a new milestone. And some of them are physical, but a lot of them are mental and conceptual. And one of the biggest ones, and I don't know exactly how many weeks you are at this point, but at one point, you know, you take something away from a baby and you take it away. And then in their mind, it's like gone. Doesn't exist. And then literally one day you take that thing away and they're like, well, it can't be gone. Where'd you put it? And so they're like,
right.
So it's like this consciousness.
They know that things go and come back.
Exactly. And that is an awareness of the self because an awareness of others. So the fact that you exist in the other room and you've taken my toy in the other room means like something's going on even though I'm not experiencing it. So this is like...
At what age do you think that happens?
It's like a couple months old. Like you're not many weeks. So it's like a thing that is like basically what that signifies is they now know you are different from them. And it's now, like brand new.
Now, here's what's fascinating. Because we think that we teach babies, right? But that baby had to come to that conclusion the same way of figuring out something for themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And every baby has to do that separately, where they like, you took that thing, and if I cry, I can get you to give it back, probably.
Yes,
you know
exactly.
I mean?
That you know then that you can manipulate a situation, you can call for it, you can cry for it, you can look for it and go, it just because it doesn't exist in front of me doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And like, that is such a weird
it's
concept.
Mine. It's
and that's
fucking mine.
That's pre you understanding language.
Yes.
That's just about consciousness. So that is just something that develops. As strange as a baby develops their brain while they're in utero, and that's just something that happens, and it happens for everyone about the same time. It's just a brain development that happens that you probably have no control of.
Here's a weird thing about memory. Because when I was a baby, right, there was film and not videotape, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot of that film would fade fairly quickly. Matter of fact, today I'm getting, and I'm hopefully it's today, an old film that my dad shot before I was born, right? And I remember seeing that on the home movies. And it was of my grandfather. I don't even think my dad's in it, but my grandfather on this fishing trip where they caught tons of fish. A lot of my memories from when I was very little have more of a faded film look about it. Like, did you ever watch a film and they would run a montage and it was like old and faded?
Yeah.
A lot of my memories tend to be that way, but it may be because of film. You know what I mean?
Dude, that's kind of weird because I kind of have similar memories and feelings of like when my brother was little that seem like in the quality of video.
Right.
And then I have concepts of like things that the way things looked before he was born, and they're almost the quality of like Polaroid, or you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's like you somehow used that as like a port key into your own memory,
right?
But you still see it through that same film. That's really weird concept.
Yeah,
I have the same kind of thing where it almost visually doesn't look like the world does to me today.
Video. Could you understand where we're coming from? There?
No, I totally get the tape aspect. Really put it into understanding for me, because like sometimes when I look back, it'll have that the corners of a videotape. You know, sometimes it gets like weird and jumbly at the top. Like
even though it's not a video that you remember,
I'm not. I'm just thinking of something from like '96.
Now, do you think a kid that's around today, their memories will be swiping? You know what I mean? Like, oh, I remember that. I remember that. I remember that. And they'll be swiping them.
That could be.
Like their own pictures. Now, Chris, you didn't grow up with a videotape. There's no video of you when you're little.
No, there's no video whatsoever.
Does any of this make sense or sound crazy to you?
The Polaroid stuff I thought that immediately because my parents had a Polaroid camera and they took lots of Polaroids, and any of the pictures I have of them are Polaroid. So it feels like my memories are Polaroid pictures.
And the color of a Polaroid picture is not like the color of any other picture.
No.
That's a uniquely fading picture. Okay?
Yeah. And when I was in college, there was just like resurgence. People were using a lot in art, and people were, trying to bring it back. And I literally think it was about nostalgia from
their own
toddler to childhood, where you're like, oh my God, this makes it look like a memory. To people my age, I think they're like, we used to use them at parties all the time. And then we would be like, look at these beautiful memories we had at this party. But I think it's because we were using a film that was familiar to us.
Do any of you guys have memories in black and white, or is everything in color?
If I try to think of something that's not my time period, like if I try to think of like something that happened in like the Civil War or back then, I can't look at it in color.
But they didn't shoot in black and white back then.
Like I'll see sepia tone, or like I won't be able to look at that as in color.
No, I don't see memory as black and white. And I've even heard people sometimes say dream, like they feel like they dream in black and white. But I have more like muted color, hazy color, washed out color as memory, but not black and white.
Jen, when we're talking about this, does any of this make sense to you?
She remembers things like pre-HD. Like she's like, I have SD memories.
480p.
Does it make sense to you at all, or does it sound like crazy?
I thought, because my mom has like a album from when I was younger. So when I think of like my early memories, I'm like, oh, I always think of the albums like Polaroids.
Here's the weird thing, because my mom has kept albums, and there's albums of all the children and blah blah blah. Why does that feel so much more powerful? It's time to go to Ronnie's album.
I know.
Than anything that exists online. How great it is that I can still have 1 million pictures, but that album has a physical power that doesn't exist anywhere else in my life.
And that's the same thing. Like my mom has albums of my family, but then she has specific albums that are of one of just me, one of just my brother. And it is like, this one's mine.
Right.
Let's look through my baby pictures, my memories, my childhood. And they're usually just the pictures that just focused on me or just my brother. So those go in the Just You album. And you're right. For some reason, it does feel so official in a way that I don't know. I don't know how families are preserving their baby memories right now.
Here's another one. All right. So in that album, there's all kind, my album. There's some picture of me in high school. All the guys was over to eat dinner. It might have been even my birthday or something, right? But everyone's around the table. Corinne Lazarski is sitting next to me in that picture, a great friend of mine. I don't have any other pictures of her. And yet I feel like that picture is... The way she looks in that picture is almost in every memory I have. I don't have a memory of her as much other than how she looked in that exact picture.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
So it's like, I really think like we must use those as like cheat sheets.
Without knowing it.
Yeah.
You know? Without knowing it at all.
Yeah, I think I know exactly what you're talking about. That's weird because as annoying as it is, like I'm one of those people, I hate when people take a camera out at parties or at family events. I just like, don't take pictures of me. But it, like, I guess there might be something that needs to be preserved because you might be able to access that time so much easier years
later. Will
later.
you ever preserve do they preserve the same way online? Like, let's face it. Does anyone go back and look at their old MySpace as if they would their old album?
No.
I think there's a physicality that needs to take place for that to stay with you.
I have like a place like I dump like all my phone. I take a lot of pictures. I'll dump them there, right? And so it's not like a regular cloud, but it's like a My Cloud or something like that. I was like, this is great. This is perfect. Now I don't have to delete my pictures. I can put them away. I have never once pulled up those old pictures, and some of them are like vacations I took and old memories and great things that have happened that were like early in my relationship, that if there was an album that I could look at, I would happily go, oh my God, look at how young we look there.
Right.
But I don't do it because it's like, what am I going to like open this shit and pull up all this stuff? I don't like to do it.
I think it's because like, you can take pictures so easily now. Like, you don't have to go anywhere to get them developed, that you just take pictures of anything at any time. So, like, when you go on vacation, you'll take, like, 300 pictures of, like, the same thing. So, like, going back to look at it, it's just so much.
But that's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pictures were precious.
Yeah, and that's what...
Somebody did not go to Disney World and take 8,000 pictures. They went to Disney World and took 12 to 24 pictures.
Right.
And that became their memories. You can't put 8,000 pictures into your memory.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why I think we should probably do a lot more deleting than we do.
I know. Yeah. But there is something weird about that. Like, I've had a thing where, okay, my phone fills up and I'm like, oh, I should delete some photos. And then I start going like, well, what if I want to look at that? But I don't. But like, it does creepy sometimes feel like you're deleting memories.
All right, Chris, your ex-girlfriend and you were together for how long?
Oh God, 8 years.
How many pictures do you have of her?
I mean, in the cloud, I probably have hundreds, probably.
In the cloud?
Yeah.
Have you ever looked at them?
Look back, no. Not once.
Right. How many physical photos do you have of your ex-girlfriend?
I have 0 physical photos of my ex-girlfriend. And we were together for 8 years. 8 years, not one physical.
Now, if you had a physical photo, you'd be cleaning out an old drawer. You would be like, oh God, look at these. And you would go, wow, I haven't thought about this in a while. But because like they're in the fucking cloud, like you're like, I'm not going to cloud. I don't understand the cloud.
Yeah. Can you even find them? Can you access them?
I don't know because it was on an old phone, so I don't even know how I would even.
Yeah, so you don't have any pictures of her, is what we're saying.
Yeah,
you don't know if you can even find this. And so as of right now, as evidence, there's no pictures of their 8 years together.
Yeah, that's
unless
weird.
He can somehow find a fucking computer expert to help him get back through his old fucking phone. Like, sure, they do exist, but you're not even a social media person,
no.
Right? But if there was a shoebox full of photos, you might keep that. You might just be like, yeah, whatever, I'll keep it.
Let's suppose he was an Instagram person, right? And Chris had pictures of his ex on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Would he have taken them down? Or did you leave your old life up there as you started a new life?
Okay, so I can tell you, I have photos on my Facebook because it was like of that time period. I don't really use Facebook anymore. Right. But I have photos with my old boyfriend and I never deleted them and I don't get rid of them. But like my Instagram now, just because of like when it's come out, is only current. But I don't know. Like, I don't think I would delete anything.
But let's suppose this. Suppose I'm Chris's girlfriend's brother, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, I like Chris, man. Chris is a good guy. And then I went over to his Instagram and I see, like, I'm going backwards. Oh, look, they went to Pittsburgh together, man. That's cool. Oh, look at them at New Year's Eve. Wait, who's this girl? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
that's
guess it is.
That's mixing.
Yes.
Oh shit, Chris is kissing her a lot.
Yeah.
He just kissed her belly at the beach. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a personal thing.
Yeah, it is weird.
That's a weird thing. That's almost like wearing an old wedding ring around someone.
Yeah, I guess that is really strange. And I think that maybe it's just the way my own personal, because I've had the last few have been like kind of longer relationships. So most social media has died with each relationship. So like my MySpace is like some dormant place that is a time capsule of my life at that time.
That's really weird even thinking.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like nothing was deleted because I don't like really open that or use that or even know how to find that shit anymore.
I tried to go back to my MySpace once and I could not remember the password or email I used just to see what was going on with myself back then.
You'll never get it back.
I guess Justin Timberlake did not bring that back the way he thought. Maybe you can bring sexy back, but you couldn't bring back MySpace. I remember when MySpace was so popular, there was a couple that we were going to go out to dinner with. And the woman said, I really need to work on my MySpace tonight.
Shit.
And I went, you don't own a business. You're not selling anything. You don't need to work on your fucking MySpace. What you need to work on is your own fucking fucking control.
Right.
Because you're weirdly putting out these pictures. Who wants to see them?
And
No one.
I would say MySpace was in an era that social media had not yet turned into like a branding thing.
Yeah.
So there would have been no reason at that time period to ever work on one's MySpace.
There were no
Like
influencers.
the closest was exactly. There was, I mean, like there was like fucking Tila Tequila, and like I don't think she worked at it. I think
She's
she
a
was just
Nazi
like scantily clad pictures. That was like the first time I ever heard of somebody being a social media star, and that wasn't even the phrase we used. We were like, oh my God, did you see this like MySpace chick is just like gotten popular and now she has a reality show? And that was like really strange to us. But there was not a precedent for.
And there were some bands and music being moved around.
Yeah, like there was some music.
Comics, I think, what's his name? The Dude Bro comic.
Dane Cook.
Yeah, Dane Cook.
Right.
Was like an immediate guy who got how you entertained your audience and got them to come to shows and, do stuff. Where no other comment, there was like, I put up a picture of myself and some audio of me at the fucking ice house, and they thought they were done,
but I definitely can't imagine anyone being like, I got to get home to work on my top 8. I got my top 8 friends. I've got to figure out who's who.
There were people who were 5 to 10, 12-hour a day MySpacers. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And I remember it hit so fast, but then when it fucking dropped so fast.
Yeah, it dropped really quick. And to be honest, the thing was, Facebook is coming. Is Facebook going to be a thing? And, Facebook started with just colleges at first, and they would invite. And when literally the day that they accepted my college into Facebook, so I was in that, like, I joined early enough. It was like, whatever, this is so stupid. Okay, what is my name going to be? Okay, like I thought it was dumb, but then I saw everyone else's excitement, and I was like, I feel like we're fucking done with MySpace. What happened? Like, we've all invested all these pictures and time and all these fucking
if you go
comments.
back, like when Vito's talking about his MySpace graveyard, it's everybody within like the same month.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like
I believe
it just hit like a fucking pandemic.
Yeah, it was certainly everyone I knew personally hopped off MySpace at the same time.
Yeah.
And it felt like right around the perfect time because it was right about then that like suddenly like your aunt's like, I have a MySpace. And you're like, fuck, get me out of here.
But even though that Facebook is down, it's gradual. And it's becoming other things. And it's like, oh, this is really more about finding news or whatever.
Right.
Like, they're way fucking smarter about, like, how do we not just depend on one thing?
Right.
You know what I mean?
They bought Instagram. I mean, and that's the one. Instagram is the thing that's, like, taking Facebook out right now. Like,
Instagram is probably, and, like, this shows you how, like, bad it is probably the newest social media that I jumped on. You know what I mean? Like, that's how old, how long it's been. And I remember the first time a friend of mine was like, okay, check out this thing. It's called Snapchat. Like, not a lot of people have it yet. And then, like, he showed it to me and he's like, and then you just send these little videos to each other. And I was like, I don't want to do that. And then later it started to become popular and went, oh, I said I don't want to do that when if I was 20 years old, I would have said, get me a Snapchat. You know what I mean? Like, then you know you have aged out if you're not that interested in hopping on the new one.
Well, the other weird thing is, like, what happens? You spend 1,000,000 years or 1,000,000 hours doing your Twitter, and then Twitter becomes obsolete. And what have you done? You built up, I don't know, 1,000,000 followers. For what reason?
Yeah.
For what fucking reason?
They don't translate to anything. They don't translate to money. It doesn't translate to people who will follow you or do anything in real life.
Now, will we say that Snapchat is dead?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it is.
I had celebrities and friends on there, and somebody else has actually set up my Snapchat quite some time ago. And I'm looking, Chelsea Handler, Jen Selter, The Howard Stern Show, Kourtney Kardashian, but I'm not seeing any of the fucking people I know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Still brands are doing it, and probably someone's job is to run all those things.
It's big for porn stars. Porn stars have private Snapchats that they charge people to follow, and then they send like updates of them having sex and them with nudes and stuff. That's the biggest Snapchat business right now.
Oh, here's just somebody that I don't follow at all, and has just been pushed into my thing. The Travel Pillow Reinvent It. Why would that be showing up? So that's just them going, if you want to watch Snapchat, you got to sit through this.
Yeah. The big thing now is like Instagram stories, which is basically the same thing as Snapchat.
I just found Mike Feeney, so that feels like an excitement. And he says, here's a spoon. Please follow me on Instagram. So he's the only person that I'd actually say no, and he's not putting a lot of work into it.
Yeah, Instagram literally took Snapchat's function and just was like, it's a part of Instagram now.
Which is pretty rare because Instagram was around beforehand.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, it's not going to be the next level thing. And then they just stole someone else's idea and went, we are still the new thing.
And I think Facebook wouldn't buy Snapchat. Like, they didn't want to pay the money for Snapchat, so they figured we'll just...
I thought they were offered money, and then they turned them down. So what they did was just said, okay,
right.
Well, then we'll use everything that you fucking invented.
Right.
And we'll make it easier and faster.
I got a friend who works at Facebook, and he said 90% of their jobs is there's tons of groups set up, and all they do is it's like 5 people sit together, come up with 100 ideas. 0% of them might pass, but one of them might be good.
Is your friend Mark Zuckerberg?
No.
By the way, this thing that you're talking about is every corporation that exists. And has have forever.
Facebook's revolution.
Yeah.
I've got an idea.
Okay, guys, let's think of more things we could do with boats. We've got deliver food. What else can we do with the boat?
I got something.
Yeah.
Boat party?
Okay, boat party. I don't know if that works for us because of the fish smell, but we're going to put it up.
Okay.
Who knows? One day we can do this. But yeah, that thing that you're talking about is people, that's their jobs. And what happens is they own your thoughts. Then.
Yeah.
That's when you're like, but that's my idea. Yeah, you were getting paid to have ideas.
Doesn't Apple have a thing where any idea you come up with while you work at Apple, even if it's not something you suggest to them, if you invent something while you work for them, they own it.
That's, again, every company.
Whoa.
Because they pay you to think. Right? So if you're working all day, and let's suppose you work for a medical supply company, right? And your job is to do medical supply stuff. And then you get to your house and you go like this, knee brace. Okay. I thought of that at home. Knee brace.
I wasn't on the clock.
Yeah. And, you know, my father has patents in things in plastics that, I'm going to tell you the truth, I don't even understand to this day. But he doesn't get it, you know. And I said to him, I go, why aren't you getting money off it? He goes like this. Oh, did you have a house, dude? You know what I mean? Did you eat food every day and wear clothes? That's what I was working for. And I was like, so you're saying I ruined your life? And he goes, no. Just the latter part of my life. Before you, everything was fucking great. Though. I cannot complain. I cannot complain about my life as a single person. That was awesome. And then I paid the price. Doug Stanhope Unmasked is coming out. He's got a second, I think, really great book called This Is Not Fame. And it's an idea. I mean, the matter of fact, Brian Regan had expressed something very similar to me, but of course, in a different thing. But Brian Regan said to me one time that he'll sell out a big theater, right? Leave that theater, and people are going crazy, like, leave that theater, walk down the street, go into a Starbucks, and stand in line like anyone else, and no one will recognize him.
Yes.
And that is the weird kind of fame that we have now. With Doug Stanhope, if you're a Doug Stanhope fan, you're the same kind of fan that you are, that people were of the Rolling Stones or the Beatles. You're a crazy Doug Stanhope fan.
Right.
There's just not 10 million of them
Right.
like there were. But I think we all have people like that because we're all always bringing up names each other that the rest of us look at. Somebody we think is famous.
Yeah.
And the rest of us are like, who? Like you guys just went, I don't get stars. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's the weirdest thing these days. That you are a legitimate star for a smaller amount of people.
Right. I mean, I think that there is certainly a positive upswing to that. To be kind of, to have an audience, an audience who is crazy about you.
Yeah, but you don't make the $200 million.
Sure.
That's the less positive. Well, I had that when I worked in terrestrial, and where in that community that I was in, I was easily a bigger star than, let's say, Conan O'Brien, you know what I mean? Or people that you would think of as major stars. But I would pass a certain road and wasn't known at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But inside that map, and Jen, you worked in that kind of radio.
Yeah, especially down in Florida. It's like they treat them like royalty.
You are royalty.
Yeah.
And then you get out of that area and you're like, somebody's going, just like, get the fuck out of the way, dude.
Like wrestlers, when wrestlers come in here, I'll be like standing there like starstruck, and somebody will walk by and be like, who is that? Like, why do you...
Give me a wrestler that is only known to the wrestling world. Because there are, like, The Rock has passed over. Hulk Hogan has passed over. I would even say Stone Cold. And you came up with one name, you said is kind of, he's making movies and he's...
Cena.
John Cena.
Yeah.
Is kind of past that. But most wrestlers, no.
Like Shawn Michaels, I think.
That's the first one I
Shawn
thought.
Michaels, to wrestling fans, is one of the best of all time.
As big as anybody that we just discussed.
But if he walked in here, 90% of the people who work here wouldn't know who it was, and I'd be standing there freaking out.
Remember the day that he did walk in here, and we were like, this is fucking great.
Yeah, I'm telling you, if Shawn Michaels walked into this room, I would be
right. Yeah, that's how he does now.
I would be far more starstruck than if Hogan walked into this room. Like that would just be like.
And I think Flair is just getting to the point now of being known by outside the wrestling world,
right?
Well, because he was not with the big league when he was, and when he went into that league, they tried their best to fucking destroy him.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Hogan. And fuck you, Vince. And yes, your children too. Except for your son-in-law, Triple H. You think Triple H sits around every day and just think, when Vince is dead, there's going to be a lot of different things going on?
Shit's going to change.
Will he run it better or worse?
I don't think overall better, but I think he'll do a better job than what's happening right now. I don't think he'll do a better job than 85 through 99, but I think he'll do a better job than 09 to now.
I think you're going to find out that he's more like Vince than any of those children. And like you'll be going, I didn't notice how much he was like Vince.
Sam Wog.
Yeah, fire. All right, we got a break here. Doug Stanhope Unmasked. This is the second Unmasked that he did. This one was important to him because he wasn't crazy about the first one. I thought I thought it went well. I thought this one went well.
Yeah.
I could still feel like he wanted, like, okay, dude, we even? I don't know where it came from, but this is not fame. I highly recommend this book. Also, his last special, which came out on CISO. And I think you can see it on iTunes. It may even be up on YouTube. There's some fucking brilliant shit in this. Some really brilliant. And yes, all of it is funny, but some of it you're like, fuck, we should be thinking about this shit a little bit. And that's always, to me, the real value of comedy. That, you know, you can watch it and a light bulb will go off for you. And I swear to you, there's been a thing that I've wrestled with in my mind, not for show purposes, nothing else, but just as a person living here. And that he came in and just crystallized everything that I was trying to get to, which again is a great reason to be a fan of someone. You know what I mean? A great reason to go, yeah, that's it. That's that itch I was trying to scratch. So Doug Stanhope, Unmasked, coming up next, and you can hear it all weekend. This is not fame. Available in stores and online. Also an incredibly funny book of his wild and crazy years as a stand-up comic. We're right back with that. It's Bennington. All right, Stanhope is here. Good to see you, man. How are you?
Way better than last time. Was anyone here last time when we did this town hall thing?
It was a little...
I had a fucking major panic attack, which I'd never had. I've had a few since.
Yeah.
But I was like, my face was twitching. My hands were shaking, which I get the booze shakes from being a drunk. Right. But I mean, I was having a hard time speaking.
Well, you had just written a book about your mom dying, and then you're doing a press tour, so It
was all alcohol related, I'm sure. It had nothing to do. I'd kill my mother again before I lived through that experience of I was like freezing up.
Yeah.
And I've had it a few times since, where one time driving across the Mississippi on a road tour where I just started shaking. Bridges and anything that like height, I get like panicky, but I had to make my tour manager, who was sleeping in the passenger side, wake up, take the wheel. I can't steer. I think I'm going to drive us into the fucking Mississippi. So,
yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if you ever lost a boner because you were, but when you're afraid, like this chick's out of my league, what if I can't get it up? And the more you think about it, the more you can't get it up, because all you think about is I can't get it up. That's what it was like. I'm going to have one of those panic attacks because I'm on a bridge. Fuck, now it's happening and I can't stop it. But that was the first time. And when I was booked to do this tour today at Sirius, my manager says, "Oh, you probably don't want to do that Bennington again." I go, "No, I want to do that the most to show I'm not a fucking retard."
Yeah. That is so funny, but that was, and it's come up quite a bit, right? But most of us drink to push that stuff away, those kind of feelings that you're talking about. But maybe, the alcohol isn't working as well as it used to.
Well, it's working overtime.
Yeah.
So when it has a day off, it doesn't know what to do. And I remember saying that on the fact that I remember that vividly when I don't remember shit is telling.
Yeah.
Because I remember going, this is where I'd usually fucking belt down some whiskey really quick.
But I remember even telling you, like, it wasn't as noticeable as it felt to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, no, you're doing good. Or you want to take a break or whatever? And you're just like, what the fuck this is?
I remember you giving me like an Artie Lang look at the end after everyone was leaving, going, "Hey, take care of yourself." I'm like, this doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah. Well, the last time that I saw Artie, he actually said to me, he's like, well, this is probably the last time I'll see you. And I go, don't do that shit, dude. You know what I mean? But
it was that tour, the last book.
Yeah.
I think it was that night because it was like Stern early, then something, probably Pete Dominic, then something else, then you, then a podcast at my hotel with David Feldman. It ended at Artie's house, his podcast, late at night. And I had, started drinking early. I don't know if this is this. Anyway, whatever day, there were 3 days of promotion. And one of the days I ended up late at his place and we both said goodbye to each other, each one of us going, that guy's going to be fucking dead.
But it does keep everybody in the moment, right? Like when you're with Artie, you're like, hey, I'm going to hold on to this,
Yeah, at that point, God knows what he had done all day.
Right.
He had that, what was that lady boy he hangs out with, the...
I don't want to say the wrong name.
Mario, something Italian.
Yeah.
And I kept, he was really lit, and I just kept saying, "You're a girl."
Right.
He's like, "No, I'm really not."
Dude, I was so close to saying Norton, and I thought I can't fuck this up. I can't do this.
No, it's a guy that looks like a lady. Yeah. Norton looks like the ugliest fucking lady. You would never confuse him.
He doesn't know that. God bless him.
But I remember Artie kept, and I know he's lit up.
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, I'll drive you back to the city." I think he lives over the bridge in fucking Hoboken or some shit, or I don't know where. But he's like, I'll drive you. I go, "No, we'll just get an Uber. You're too fucked up. We're too fucked up. Just no, I'll drive you." And I realize he's trying to ditch a handler.
Right.
And he's using us as the excuse. And once I understood that, I'm like, yeah, okay, you should drive us, because I understand having to fucking go get fucked up.
Yeah.
I don't ever have to have a handler because my drugs are legal.
Right, exactly.
And they don't blow your nose out like a prolapsed rectum.
Well, you are lucky that you didn't pick up the taste for morphine, because that kind of changes everything,
I've always been drug-wise, like cocaine. I do socially or medicinally. I can do it. Well, if you have 2 shows in the same night, and I drink fairly heavily. So if I have 2 shows, one of them's going to suck. But if I do a little bit of blow on the second show, it gives me that energy, like a 5-hour energy drink. And I think cocaine is healthier than a 5-hour energy drink. I honestly do. A fucking Red Bull makes me feel like my teeth are rotting like methamphetamine.
Yeah.
A bump of cocaine gets you through the show. I don't need to scour the town for more. So, I've always been able to do drugs socially, but that's because alcohol is my main drug.
Yeah, that's your drug.
If I get sober, I'd go, let's find some more coke. I don't know, but I'm 50.
It really is funny, though, how people can move on from one to the other. Like, oh, I think the problem is this, so I'll move on to this drug.
Well, Norton fucking quit drinking, and now he has hookers piss on his face.
Yeah.
So you find an ancillary, dirty deed.
Yeah.
What was yours? I assume you used to do some shit.
I used to do everything. I didn't turn down anything. And I am that person who went from, oh, my problem is this drug. Thank God there's this other drug. And I'm like, oh, this drug is the problem.
Name names.
Well, it would be any drug that exists today. It was coke, it was meth, it was speed, it was downs.
You moved from
morphine.
what to what? I don't know. I don't know if any of them are sponsors where we can't mention the adversary.
You know what's funny? They're all fucking sponsors now, right? Everybody thinks they're like, well, look at the opiate problem that we have. Like, this isn't being made in somebody's bathtub, right? These are all legal drugs, and now the whole country is high. The whole entire country.
I was just saying this. I've said it a million times. I now do legal drugs for the reason they're prescribed.
Yeah.
Like I do Xanax.
Yeah.
Where, okay, if I'm going to have to drive over a bridge, I'm going to check ahead on I still use a road atlas. I know you guys use GPS, but I'll check ahead.
Yeah.
All right, what am I going to, I'll take a Xanax so I don't have a panic attack and drive the whole fucking van into the Mississippi.
Right.
I take them to sleep.
But isn't it great to know that when the rest of us are going over a bridge, there's a lot of people eating Xanax on either side of us? You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is so much easier. I used to be afraid. Now I can nap a little on the way over here. Before we get into the book, I know it's Super Bowl weekend. You must have something big planned, right?
No, I've kind of fallen off of football. There's no good stories anymore. If you're asking me my pick, 27-24 Patriots and they never cover.
Right, it is true. They never cover. And yet they run off the field so fucking happy, and everyone else is like, shit.
I'm from New England.
Yeah.
So, when they beat the Rams, that was one of the best Super Bowls ever. And since then, it's just, all right, it's a repeat.
People forget
3-point games.
That was like a major upset. Like, we were like, this is the upset of all time.
14 and a half points, I believe.
And now they've won so much, everyone just like doesn't remember that game for as crazy as it was.
And I remember before that hating every dynasty.
Right.
The 49ers, the Cowboys, like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And who against the Bills again?
Yeah, right.
It's like the Washington Generals of 4 Super Bowls in the row. And so, this is fucking a repeat, and it's boring. It's 2 teams I could care less about. I'm a uniform guy. I'm the gayest football fan. I don't know a cornerback from a safety or what but I know cool uniforms. If the Patriots were playing in their throwbacks, they had the fucking dude on the side of the helmet, that and the creamsicle Tampa Bay Buccaneers, best uniforms ever.
Yeah,
I could jack to that Super Bowl.
Sounds like you might be a softball fan because they come across like softball uniforms.
There's some hockey uniforms that are pretty good.
Yeah. But you don't you don't bring everybody over to your house.
I did.
Yeah.
We meted at Downs. My gal pal had a coma thing. Mm-hmm. Has a hard time in crowds. We got football down to how it used to be. A few friends.
Right.
At some point, it got up to like 25 people there. 4 of them watch football. The rest are talking over it, and I'm hosting. I want to watch the fucking game.
Right, that's true.
So we've toned it down. We'll watch the game.
You brought up
bet on it. This is one you have to bet on.
Bet on it.
MyBookie.ag, new sponsor.
You brought up Bingo, and she's here today. Good to see you. And she's doing well now. You had quite a scare.
Well. Yeah. Big scare, coma, hospital for a month. She's back. And
I know that you were putting a lot of that on social media, and some people found it endearing, and other people found it horrifying.
You know who found it really horrifying months later? Bingo. She's never going to... I was the most negative guy when she was in a coma because her family was all at the hospital, and anytime she'd sneeze or wiggle a digit, oh, she's showing great progress, and I'd race back over to the hospital like, you're fucking deluding yourself. This is not getting better. I was the big voice of negativity. Like, this is gonna be fucking awful. She's gonna be in a chair and shitting in a bag the rest of her life.
Yeah.
Just because she coughed, you go, oh, she's coming back. No.
Yeah.
Well, here she is.
Here she is. She did it. She pulled it off. And you're a very, very funny man, but that kind of shit, the terrors show up, right? I mean, it's really...
But that's where I thrive.
Yeah.
I don't. That's where funny was forced upon. We had to be, me and my small social circle of deviant friends had to be the comic relief, because it was her 40th birthday party when this happened. So all of her friends and family had flown in. So fortunately, they're all there, because they would have flown in anyway. But now they're already there. So they take over all the, crying and hugging and foot rubbing and, can you hear me, honey? Are you in there? And we started a bar in the ICU closet. Sneaky bar that wasn't fooling anybody. And we were just the comic relief, and we're trying to figure out when she comes out of the coma, how we can fuck with her head. And we're going to take wedding photos with me and her younger sister and all her family, and tell her she's been in a coma for 27 years and age ourselves. You've been in a coma since back when. Because we figure once Trump got elected in the coma, and once we tell her Trump is president, all the other bullshit stories we make up are going to seem plausible.
Right, yeah. That is true. I mean, that must have felt to her like, oh, I must still be in the coma. You know what I mean? Like, how could I have this crazy thought?
It was a fun time. Well,
yeah.
But I mean, when shit gets ugly, that's where you have to dig the deepest for comedy, and that's where I thrive. It's the other stuff that, I get. She quits. I have some pet peeves that I'm really fond of.
Yeah.
Mouth sounds. Todd Barry has this too.
Yeah.
If we have one bonding thing, it's called misophonia. It's chewing with your fucking mouth open. I was going to demonstrate it, but in case you have it too. She quit smoking and started chewing nicotine gum with her mouth open. She sleeps with the nicotine gum in her mouth and wakes up chewing before her eyes open. My biggest pet peeve, she took, well, would you rather me smoke and die? Yes. That stuff fucking bothers me. Coma time, she might live, she might die, she might be a fucking vegetable. All right, now I'm thriving. Now, all right, you got me in a okay, I can deal with hardcore shit.
Right.
Killing mother. I got it. Don't know how to do it, but I'm...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the minutia that fucking makes me crazy.
That is... How does Bingo's family feel about you? Are they comfortable?
They included me. Not even included. They went to me on judgment calls.
Yeah.
No, it never got quite to pull the plug, but other things like if she has the trach and it doesn't do whatever, she might have a trach for the rest of her life. Yeah. So we're going to have a meeting with the doctor and the parents, who are professional, upstanding people. They ain't fucking Tanya Harding's fucking mom. They're like, well, we wanted you here. You make the decision. I'm like, I should be making decisions.
Right.
Like, I decide what. Hey, let's get an orange car. I like orange cars. I don't make decisions about someone's health, permanent. That's your parents.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
My parents are dead, and I'm thankful. So, I don't. They say they like me. I think they do.
She says
I'm a very respectable person around them, and if people swear around them, I tell them not to do that, and they don't give a fuck. But they like that. Yeah, I grew up with manners.
Yeah,
and I carry that. So, yeah. I'm still a dick. But, I mean, I make inappropriate jokes, but they come around. Oh, yeah, they're great. I like them.
I think that's fantastic, man. I think it's also fantastic that they included you, even though it was uncomfortable for you, but
you know, they deferred to me, and now I have to question their. Yeah. But it's great to have, because I don't have any family really. My parents are dead. I have a brother I don't talk to, and so it's great to have her family that I'm not responsible for.
Right.
Like when they have to die, I'm going on vacation. I'm not. But she has 2 sisters that are responsible. We're like the fuck ups of our families, and they're almost happy that we thrive.
Yeah.
Like they should be like derelicts somewhere, yet they found each other, and they're doing better than the rest of the fucking sisters.
Yeah, that's really odd the way life works out. But you did manage to find your thing, you know. And I was watching your last special when I could finally get to it, because the fucking CISO thing, I didn't even.
That fucking kills me, because I went after. It was the last special, which probably none of you saw, No Place Like Home. I really like that special, and I'm not someone who likes anything I do. And I went with CISO because they could put it out first. And it had been filmed so far back that I go, this is time sensitive. You're always afraid some other comic is going to step on your dick with that premise. And all right. And they were offering the most money because they were, upstart.
Right.
So I went with the money, and mostly they'll get it out first. And then the entire fucking company folded.
Yeah.
So, but it's out there. No Place Like Home is on CISO. It's on iTunes and wherever. It's fucking out there again.
Well, there are ideas in that special that you do comedically that I was thinking that somebody else could really run through in an academic way, because there's some really brilliant thoughts in there. And I love this stuff on mental illness.
That's the chunk.
Yeah,
every special has the chunk.
Yeah.
There's other bits that you do, but you go, that's the chunk that needs to be out there now, and it's the mental illness shit.
And the fact is, I've kind of have those thoughts, but never crystallized them. I always, to me, if you look at almost any crime that we have in this country, mental illness is at the core, right?
Yes. And that is something that I've been battling with, where you have to account for mental illness, but to a point.
Right.
When
at
the guy
what point?
eats your kid's face.
Yeah. Right.
You go, fuck that guy. Like, there's a point where you go, well, he's mentally ill and we have to care for these people until they, eat your kid's face or something. You go, fuck that guy. Just put him out of his misery. He's a rabid dog.
But you also make the point, like, everybody is always rallies around certain, like, special needs kids. There's love and hugs.
Yeah, the Camp 1 and Camp 2.
Right.
There's mentally, I'm trying to repeat the bit, and there's mentally disturbed people, Camp 1, and there's mentally challenged people, Camp 2. Mentally challenged people get all the hugs and kickball in the world. Mentally disturbed, you kick them out of the fucking house as soon as they're 18 because they're scary and they talk to themselves and bees live in their hair or whatever.
Yeah. And those are
it's a good bit, but it goes on for another 18 minutes that I don't remember.
But even beyond the fucking comedy, and the comedy is great in that, it really is something that people should take a look at, and we never really hear that discussed, and we try to figure out what this evil is when somebody goes into a place and shoots it up, but it's mental illness.
Hugely, and most mentally ill people are in prisons and not mental health facilities where they're taken care of. Because usually they end up indigent and fucked up, and no one wants to deal with that, and they're fucking scary to deal with. You fucking live in this city.
Right, sure.
Yeah, you have to smoke outside. That's in the bit. That's in the bit.
Yeah.
No one deals with mentally ill people more than smokers. We have to stand outside while you're all partying in the fucking bar, and we're out there like a salt lick for the homeless, smoking cigarettes. It's a fucking strong piece of material. I'll stand by it.
It really is, and it's strong in that way that you remember Carlin bits where you're like, shit, man, this is even beyond comedy. This is something that somebody even smarter, more educated should have come up with. But there's the comedian is the one bringing that up, and that's always mind-blowing to me.
Well, you don't have to skirt the issue that I spend more time in my later years on premises rather than jokes.
No.
You know what? It's not even that it's, you have comedy in there, but you make a strong point. Well, I'm not sure you're right about the comedy. I think I might have just made a really strong point. But as long as no one else is making it, fuck them.
Yeah. But I do find more value to that than just really a good short joke that can make everybody laugh, because that's the kind of shit that we end up putting on Rushmore, dude. And that's true. You know what I mean? It's a very tough thing to pull off, to come up with a premise like that is right there, but everybody is skirting that issue.
When you have a girlfriend that's mentally ill, you kind of build that material kind of organically. All right.
Yeah, there's your muse.
There's a few things that I like to take credit for in changing, and one of those, the end of that bit, it goes into Gabby Giffords being and that shooting in Tucson, and how they shot a camp 1 mentally disturbed, shot her into camp 2 mentally challenged, and no, it goes. I can't do the whole bit. I make it work. That's what I love, when I can find a piece of material that everyone should frown on, but as I break it down, I like to do comedy like a defense attorney in an unwinnable case where I win. And at the end of that, I taped that in Bisbee, where we live and where Bingo gets mental health care. I said, if you want to know the problem, if you have that voice in your head like the Gabby Giffords shooter that's telling you to, pack a lot of ammo and go do the bad thing, to get mental health care, you would have to, where we live, walk past the Second Amendment gun shop, the Bisbee Brewery in a U-shaped strip mall, and then go to where she was getting mental health care, Community Intervention Associates, with the acronym printed on a tinted glass door, CIA. You have a voice in your head telling you to go kill a lot of people. She didn't even see a doctor. She gets to see a registered nurse via Skype. It's a small town on the border in Arizona. They don't have a lot of funds. That's the best you can get. So, go kill a lot of people, walk past the gun shop, the bar, through the tinted glass door marked CIA, and talk to a television set that's talking back to you. And you wonder why a lot of people die in hails of gunfire.
Right.
And since that came out, since we taped it in town, they've changed the name to CHA, Community Health. And so they changed the fucking name, and I want to take full credit for that. Because acronyms on a door don't come cheap in Bisbee. There's a big budget constraint to change the name.
There was a giant meeting about that.
I'm sure there was.
That's great. Well, the book now, this is not Fame. Now, this is your second book, and at this point...
That's the book I wanted to write first, but the first one, honestly, I think my manager bullshitted the book company into a premise. It was about my mother's suicide, and went from there and through my life. My relationship with my mother, they thought if I could write a book that chicks would read. I really think that was a marketing motivation for them to give me a deal. Because it's a relationship with your mother, and nobody gives a fuck. I love Margaret Cho, but when she starts doing my mother talk like this, yeah, all right, get to the funny shit. I even have that in. I have that in the introduction of this book. I hate books, especially when you read any rock and roll books, biographies. I love degenerate fuck up biographies. That's my go-to. But you hate having to sit through the childhood and the parents were like this. And I said that I hate, first of all, I hate that they sober up 2/3 of the way through. And that's why they wrote the book. And I promised I would not in this book. And I also said there will be no parents and childhood. I got that shit out in my first book. Sorry you had to read it.
Yeah, but it is true. I have to read a lot of biographies because of people coming in. And the first 2 chapters are, we chase squirrels with BB guns and our smoke. Just shut the fuck up and get to making the albums and sleeping with the hookers.
Right,
right.
So this is all sleeping with the hookers.
It's all sleeping with the hookers.
This is all,
But and I also love
the war stories.
Yeah, that you do just jump around from one great story to another. It's like talking with you. No one ever sets up their life story and tells it all the way through when you're hanging out with somebody.
But the through line is about fame and the lack thereof, the trappings of. Like, shit that this wouldn't, if I was a famous comic, that wouldn't have gotten printed just because of the Me Too thing.
Right.
Because there's so many Me Too stories I'm celebrating in that, where other people are being fired for way less shit.
Yeah. So one of the really great things that's happened to you is you didn't get too famous that they could attack you for this. You don't even feel like you're going to be on their radar.
Well, I don't work for anyone.
Yeah.
You can get fired. Yeah. You work here. If you touch me inappropriately, and I'm obviously drinking, so I have some kind of... the only people that can fire me are ticket buyers. I'm not going to lose a fucking Burger King sponsorship. Anytime you hear a comedian or any athlete, anyone in the public eye apologizing, it's because there's someone writing their fucking check. You're the only people that can fire me. Ticket buyers, because all I do is stand-up comedy. So I don't have to, I did the wrong thing. If I apologize at any point, it's because I really fucked up. And I'm sorry.
I wonder why we even want a forced apology, because the person doesn't mean it. So what do we get out of the guy coming out with his hat in his hand?
And I'm just thinking this now, but I think that's part of why Trump is president, because he did what everyone... No, I'm not. Yeah. I don't apologize. I say I never even said it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Rather than a fake apology, he's faking not apology. Like,
right.
That comes into play. Like, he's honestly a douchebag. And people go, at least he's not fucking lying that he's a douchebag. He's a full-on fraudulent fucking liar, and he'll lie that he said he didn't lie.
Yeah.
And that's so refreshing compared to, I'm going to take anger management. I said some bad things about Jews. So here's my friend, the Jew that wants to be in the spotlight, and he's going to take me to the Museum of Tolerance. And you don't mean any of this. Even the Jew doesn't mean any of this. You're just fucking spotlight hogs. It's fucking gross. Sorry, did I?
No, I loved it. But it is also amazing. Even I think the Trump detractors would have to admire the energy that the guy has. He's 70 years old. He's flying around. He's in at least a fight a day with somebody. I mean, it's phenomenal that he could.
But I think that some of that is a sociopath where he's. Well, let's just say he had normal hair. They always show how every president grays over the course of their term, but he wouldn't gray. If he had just like normal fucking Scott Baio hair, he wouldn't gray because he doesn't give a fuck at all. I don't know if that's good or bad. I've always been of the mind I don't need a leader. A president is no more like all presidents have been reality show hosts to me. So no Bill Clinton or fucking Jimmy Carter ever affected my day.
Yeah, that is true. Well, we didn't used to talk about it as much now, but now it's almost like you can't miss anything that happens because people bring it up so much, like every 2 hours. Do you believe that? I'm like, I don't.
It used to be Kardashians. Now it's Trump.
Yeah.
It's brain rape. I don't want to know about any of these people. My fucking day moves swimmingly or poorly based on my own choices, not some fucking cunt down the road in Washington. We're not terrestrial, are we?
No, yeah. Not anymore. Not anymore after that last break. We're gone. So you're not a political guy at all, never have been.
I was for a minute. I think we all go, as comedians of my ilk, we go through our atheist phase and our political phase. I was a libertarian for a while. I'm still libertarian leaning, but as a government, it wouldn't work because you'd have to have faith in humankind. And I've not found any hint of that in my travels.
So where does any optimism that you have come from? Because there is optimism in your act as well.
Well, I politics, charity, local. I live in a small town. I know the person I'm giving money to because they need it. I don't give it to a charity that's going to spend most of it on brochures and ribbons and advertisements to get more money, where local politics. I care about what happens in my town. How does this affect us? The plastic bag ban in Bisbee was a huge fucking thing. It's a town of 5,000 people, and they're like, plastic bags are stuck in the tumbleweeds. Why don't we just get rid of plastic bags or charge for them? Which is very anti-libertarian. But I'm like, yeah, you're right. It's fucking filthy. Reuse your fucking bags, you fucking piece of shit.
Right.
And that passed, and then it went to the Arizona Supreme Court, and then they rescinded it. So now you have plastic bags, but you also have people that have spent a couple, 3 years of reusing their bags, and I do it too. It becomes habit, and you're not a fucking slob.
But it's so funny that so many people pay attention to the highest national thing, and it's
as
really
a scapegoat.
Yeah.
My life sucks. I'm married to a fucking doughy woman I hate. I have 3 kids. One of them has fucking Bell's palsy. It's a president. Thanks, Obama. I mean, that thing, they really do. They look for the biggest scapegoat, but they don't know who their fucking city councilman is. They're getting a fucking ticket on street sweeping day. And then that happens, and then another thing happens, all local shit. And then at the end of the day, we got to get a fucking different administration.
Yeah.
They wouldn't know the House of Representatives from the other one. I don't know them either. They don't matter to me.
It's weird. In New York City, though, there are so many. It's like block by block. And the number of people who know how long you could stay in your apartment before they can kick you out. It's like jailhouse lawyers wherever I go. It's amazing how many times people say, you have the right to do this. I'm like, oh, you fucking guys are involved, I
was always amazed as I was a piece of shit young broke kid, and I would manipulate the system as much as I could, but I'd hear stories about, I'm 7 months late on my rent, and like, how do you get 7 months? I get up like 1 week late. They shut off all my shit and throw me out, and you fucking milk it for 7 months.
And actually, that's how Trump made his bones in that kind of real estate business, where he's been the game. He's been sued so many times, and he can sleep like a baby. You know what I mean? He was $2 billion in debt and bought a new plane. You know what I mean? There's something about that kind of carny hustle, I think.
There is. Yeah. But when too many people want a leader, where a president or any elected official should be a public servant. Right. Servant, not monarchy, which is what the people want. The fucking fact that they give a shit about like Prince Harry's fucking wedding in England. People like royalty. They like Kennedys and Bushes.
Yes, they do.
They want leadership. They want to fawn over where it should be. You should be no different than a fucking dog catcher as a president. Do your fucking job.
But what do you think? People want magic. They want like some kind of hand of God, like, oh, this is blessed, so we're fine to follow this leader. You know, to love that kind of stuff.
Who are you for? The Patriots or the Eagles?
I'm Eagles fan.
Okay, so that's what they want. They want someone to root for.
Yeah.
And if it was two other teams, you'd have a favorite and fuck the other team.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. They play politics like sports, and they have some opinion of what's I'm going way down. I'm going down unfunny way on this train. I'm David Hill. I'm about to take the path of least funny.
I'm going to talk a little least funny with you, because there's a thing in the book that's so funny, and it was about a young comedian that you saw in L.A.
Josh Perlman. That opens the chapter, and I was hence the title. Josh Perlman when I lived in L.A. He's a young comic, and he got his first paid gig in Vegas at the Rio Hotel, and he came back to L.A. and he said he was talking to a hooker early a.m., playing a video poker machine next to her, but he didn't know how to close the deal. And she said, finally, do you want to take me up to your room for a dance? And he said, well, how much? And she said, $200. And he said, all right, what do I get exactly? So I'm not going to pay you $200 to just dance. Tell me specifically. And she goes, well, are you a cop? He said, no, I'm a comedian. She said, really? Do you know Doug Stanhope? And the next line is, this is not fame. Known in certain circles as closer to the truth.
And that's kind of true of most.
Hey, you know what? I'll tell you the fucking full story of this, because it actually goes back to the last book. It wasn't just that she was a hooker that knew me, which I infer. She's in the last book as my friend Jeff Brown's cokehead wife, the Jewish American princess, if you're fucking fully knowledged on everything. She knew me from my previous life. She turned into a hooker after he dumped her in Vegas. She turned into a coke whore, and that's how she knew me. The story lends itself without a lot of detail, but that's the truth.
Wow!
I shouldn't say her name is Tracy Shapiro.
Well, this will be something that'll be studied for generations. There'll be academics taking one line into the other. But a lot comes into this about comedy and some advice for young comedians that goes contrary to what a lot of people say.
You really read this book?
Yeah, I did. I'm a fan. But I will say this: that people have told young comedians, just go out and do any gig that you can. All you can do.
That's what you should do.
Yeah.
No, you shouldn't. None of it's going to suck repeatedly. And we learned early on, like, band breaks. Hey, my cover band's playing down at fucking Elmo's. Come and do comedy on the breaks. They'll love you. And they fucking won't. And you're going to suck. And you're going to know you suck. And if you keep doing shitty spots in places, old folks' homes or wherever,
right?
Yeah, you're just going to think you suck because you're playing in the wrong places where no one wants to hear comedy. Sometimes people don't want to laugh.
But they always think,
especially in this book.
Yeah, this room is just confused all the way through. And one guy back there, I think, is just drawing you this entire time. I don't want to judge your fans, but
I'm going to work this side of the room.
Are you drawing back there? Is that what you're doing, or are you taking
drawing?
Yeah.
Courthouse fucking sketch.
What's that?
Courthouse sketches. That's all right. Well, I'll sell it on eBay.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Now you're drawing dub?
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah. Let's just lift up and let me see. I'm just so curious.
Draw.
That is amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty
really
accurate.
good, man.
God damn.
Yeah.
Someone tweeted me this morning. I've said it on every show, I think, but someone said, "Man, you're looking as bad as Hardy." I'm like, oh man.
No, I just saw Artie. You're fine.
I've seen Hardy too. I haven't seen me. I don't have mirrors in my house on purpose.
That is the best way to live life, isn't it? Just to ignore it all.
Yeah,
just ignore it all.
It's worked out so well for me. Medical issues.
Right.
Well, you just asked me. Who just asked me? You really don't ever go to doctors? And I go, no.
Why would you? That's
First
insane.
of all, it's a fucking business.
Yeah.
They get paid if they find something wrong with you.
Right. And they keep looking. They're like cops that way. They just keep looking.
Back when I gave an attempt to going to dentists when I lived in L.A., as you can tell, it didn't work out so well. And I would get coupons out of the fucking weekly. I'd go to the dentist with a coupon. And several dentists told me that I had cavities in different teeth and didn't see the cavity that the last dentist saw in different teeth. I'm like, this is all fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way. Oh, yeah, I've had hernia surgeries because they were bloating out of my body so badly that I could see them. I could make fart sounds by touching them. Now I know it's a problem. But if you say, yeah, you should really get that removed. You know, it's a fucking mole. Well, it could be cancer, and we should buy it. Fuck you. When I'm dying of cancer, I'm 50. I've ignored almost every problem, and most of them go away. So
yeah, maybe you're fighting it off by not going there. You know, maybe you've beat cancer a couple times for all you know.
Could have. Yeah.
We don't know. I mean, we don't have that information. It could be.
Do you go to get physicals and shit?
No. Hell no. Because they, again.
I'll tell you, looking at you, it's not good.
No. But it hasn't been good for a long time.
Right.
It hasn't been good for decades.
It doesn't hurt.
I have had people, pretty healthy people, die around me all the time because they went to the doctor. Yeah, they went to the doctor. And a lot of times I feel like those people are carriers. I don't know what it is exactly, but there's a chance that they're catching shit there, you know?
Or they find something that I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm 50, I shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I won. At 50, I said I won.
Right, yeah.
If I had 51, I'm piling on, a coach would say. Yeah, I've done fine. I have no interests anymore in life.
Well, but you know, like we were saying, well, I'm not into football as much as I used to be. That is that sign of I've done it a lot. You know what I mean? I've done all this shit a lot. What do you want to do? Keep doing it?
Yeah, you know? I don't know how to top myself. I don't have any, side projects I want to do, which is. These were lines that I did in that Louis episode. Right. Where I go, I've said this on stage, and you wrote the script, but I've already said this shit.
Yeah.
It's not wanting that's kind of the killer. I don't want anything.
You know, that is the thing that I don't even know if people got like Louis' brilliance, but remember when he brought in Jim Florentine for that bit that was so great?
You don't know Louis' brilliance.
No.
It's the way that he would. He had this downward stroke he did.
None of this is happening. No one is jerking off in front of me right now.
I have told this story. I started this story on Stern, got cut off.
Yeah.
Derailed. Then I brought it up again on Norton. Then I got derailed again. But the end of the story, so they're gonna have to listen to all of Sirius XM. The end of the story with Louis is when I took credit. There was a thing, because I had a friend that watched him jerk off decades ago because she thought it was funny. She didn't have a problem. He asked politely, is this something you'd be into? She watched him jerk off in a fucking ladies' room. And she came up, we were sharing a room at a function, and she goes, I just watched Louis C.K. jerk off. I go, you never watched me jerk off. No, I'm jerking off. She goes, help yourself. And I tried to jerk off to porn. I probably couldn't finish because we were friends, and I probably laughed too much. Hedberg was in the room, according to her version of the story. He came out of the bathroom while I was jerking off, and I don't remember that part, but, hey, believe women. Anyway, then this whole thing someone wrote, Gawker Jezebel wrote a thing, America's funniest comedian and sitcom auteur, has he been jerking off in front of women? It's like 2012 or something. So I jumped in. And I wrote, yeah, that was me. And I wrote a whole story. Yeah, and I took full credit for it. Just because it's funny that I would be America's funniest comedian and sitcom auteur. Then a few years later, the rumor mill keeps building. All I know is that the girl I jerked off in front of and Louis jerked off in front. She thought it was funny. And so this guy, can I read this? Do we have time?
Yeah, we got time. We got nothing but time.
So, Bengi.
Yeah.
My phone. It's in my jacket. All right, I'll read it in a minute.
My guy will bring it in.
It's in my,
Here's Chris Stanley. He was already going through your phone anyway. There he is, Chris Stanley with the phone.
All right, I have to give a shout out to Butters, our friend Butters, who turned me on to you originally when we did that fucking long, arduous road trip through North Dakota. All right, hang on. I forwarded this. I found it and forwarded it to myself in case I had a chance to read it. So I think it was 2012. One of the Gawker Jezebel, one of those people came out with this mysterious comedian who jerks off in front of ladies. And from what my experience was, yeah, it was very polite. And I've jerked off in front of a million ladies. And a lot of them probably didn't want to see it, but they said yes. I mean, I've done so much worse shit than a lot of these people. Hang on, where's this fucking thing? Jerking off, that would probably be the one. So 3 years later, someone's back on the Louis C.K. thing, trying to fucking out him. And this guy, Gawker, was Gawker. He wanted to know what I knew because I took credit earlier, and he knew that it was facetious. So I wrote back to him, Jordan, your infatuation, when I fucked this up, imagine how long it took me to read my audiobook version. Jordan, your infatuation with comics masturbating in front of one another is as troubling as it is uninformed. Comics on any professional level masturbate at each other in the same way urban dancers might step to one another. Your opponent can then choose to try to match you and top your style and intensity, or simply concede defeat and walk away. Blocking the door with your back is an unspoken regulation, not to keep someone from leaving, but to keep non-comics from walking in and blowing it out of proportion. People like you. This isn't just a common practice with male comedians either. I can't count the number of times lady comics have clammed off at me in a green room. Tig Notaro, Bonnie McFarlane, Jackie Cation, and even the legendary Roseanne Barr have all beat me under the table, figuratively and literally. Did I cry foul or shout, hey, I have to use that microphone? No. I chalked it up to paying your dues and pulled stronger wood the next time. It's not about being sexually untowards. It's an age-old comedy practice meant to instill courage, pride, and to pump each other up before the show. The conveniently anonymous comedian sources may have stepped on an open mic here or there, but that doesn't qualify you as a true working comic any more than going to the batting cages makes you a baseball player. Baseball players who also legendarily jerk off in front of one another. I once went head-to-head with former Atlanta Braves pitcher John Rocker, who used the same handtique as his slider and made me look a fool. Andy Kindler is a proficient club wanker, notorious for turning his back to you during the ordeal. Maria Bamford prefers to smush it up to a window, which is why I never got ground room floors on the road with her. Ron White never even puts down his cigar and scotch. These people aren't perverts. These people aren't perverts. They're sophisticates with a respect for tradition. Jesus, this goes on a long fucking time. As for the alleged female comedy duo in Aspen, luring other acts to their room with the promise of illicit narcotics, you had to remember the fucking allegations at the time, you penned an article alluding to me making spank in front of them, yet coyly left out the fact that they had really shitty weed. That's yellow journalism. I'd offer you the old adage, write about what you know, and that certainly isn't stand-up comedy. Slapping off one's genitals in private comedy circles is as much a staple as the joy buzzer or whoopee cushion. The original Friar Club roasts were bar door. The original Friars Club roast were bar-doored bukkake sessions, mostly because everyone back then was scared the other comics would steal their jokes. If you want to crucify Louis C.K., it should be for pirating my overhand downward twist execution without giving me credit. So, sorry, that took too long. But the point is, back when all those rumors were spreading, all I knew was my story, where it was completely consensual. And then when it came out in this whole Me Too thing, I got an email from that one old female comic friend saying, I was just thinking about you. I was thinking about you, too. We talked on the phone, and she's, I go, you coming out with this? She goes, no, I don't want to fucking be the one that was okay with it. Which is a serious other side of the coin. Like, a lot of chicks fucked Harvey Weinstein hoping to get a part. And they're not going to come out and go, yeah, I just went through with it. It just seemed funny at the time because they'd be as castigated as him. Like, you just fanned the flames of that problem. So
yeah, it's not like they can bring their Oscars back. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I guess I don't fucking want this anymore.
And every fucking rock and roll band that was famed for abusing chicks in green rooms, the fucking Led Zeppelin smacking a girl on the ass with a fish.
Yeah, we never hear of that.
They're going to pull their fucking songs off iTunes.
Yeah. Well, by the way, you could tell from that letter they sent, it's an amazingly great ability to write. Everybody knows how funny his stand-up is, but the writing in both of the books is incredibly good.
The reading is never good.
Yeah, There's reading.
A lot it takes. A lot it takes.
Thank you so much for coming back, and you know, no panic attack this time, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway.
I again, when he said you probably don't want to do that. Fuck yeah, I gotta come. You have a shitty first show. You can't wait for that second show. I'm gonna fix this shit.
Doug Stanhope, everybody.
Thank you, Ron Bennington.
This is not fame. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you. See you next time. Thanks. And Ron, take care of yourself.
So funny. Thank you, Joe.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all again in 1974. Good evening!